Let's jump right in. Now, this analysis was conducted under the scientific oversight of Professor Vihar Kiskinov, a doctor of legal science, and we're tackling a really critical question today. How can a single, broad law that's designed for all AI suddenly have a massive impact on the car that's parked in your driveway? It's a fascinating puzzle, so let's break it down.
It really does seem like a strange setup, doesn't it? You have this huge, sweeping piece of legislation for every kind of AI imaginable. And then, way over here, you've got the very specific, very technical world of automotive safety. So how on earth do you connect those two things? Well, that's exactly the puzzle we're going to solve.
And here's our roadmap. We're going to tackle this in 4 key parts. First, we'll look at the 2 separate legal worlds that existed before any of this. Then, and this is the core of it, we'll reveal the single article that brilliantly connects them. After that, we'll get into the real-world impact, what this actually means for car makers and their suppliers. And finally, we'll zoom out and look at the future, not just in Europe, but really for the entire globe. Okay, so to really get why this change is so significant, you first have to understand that there were 2 powerful but very, very different legal universes operating side by side. And the contrast between them is just stark. On one side, you have the AI Act. It's what we call horizontal. It cuts across literally every industry, from healthcare to banking. And it's based on principles, big ideas like risk, fundamental rights, and data. Then on the other side, you got the General Safety Regulation, or GSR. This is vertical. It is laser-focused only on the auto industry. And it's deeply technical, all about measurable things like braking distances and crash performance. For decades, these 2 worlds just didn't interact. So that's the challenge, right? How do you connect a law based on abstract principles with another one that's all about technical specs? The EU solution was both elegant and incredibly powerful. They basically built a legal bridge, and they did it with a single, precisely worded article. This right here, this is it, Article 109. What it does is amend the automotive-specific law, the General Safety Regulation, and the most important phrase here is shall be taken into account. Now, in the language of EU law, that is not a polite suggestion. It's a legally binding order. It forces the European Commission to take the principles from the AI Act and inject them directly into the technical rules for cars. So what does this look like in practice? Well, you start with those 2 separate systems we talked about. Then Article 109 steps in and acts like a legal adapter is a great way to put it. It connects them. But what's so crucial here is that it doesn't create a whole new separate bureaucracy for car makers to deal with. Instead, it funnels the core requirements of the AI Act right into the vehicle approval process they already use. It's a remarkably efficient piece of legal engineering. So what exactly is flowing across this new legal bridge? Basically, the very heart of the AI Act's rules for high-risk systems. We're talking about things like ongoing risk management, really strict rules on data and data governance, demands for transparency and technical documents, requirements for human oversight, and brand new standards for accuracy and cybersecurity. All of these ideas, which were pretty foreign to automotive law before, are now about to become mandatory parts of a car's safety standards. Now, this isn't just some abstract legal change on paper. Oh no! It creates a massive ripple effect, what you could call a compliance cascade that flows down the entire global automotive supply chain. And it all kicks off with this definition right here. The AI Act says an AI system is high risk if it's a safety component. That sounds straightforward, but this definition is incredibly broad. We're not just talking about brakes or steering anymore. In a modern car, an AI driver monitoring system, that's a safety component, because if it fails, a tragedy could happen. A battery management system, that's a safety component too, because if it malfunctions, you could have a fire. This wide scope pulls dozens and dozens of systems in every new car into that high-risk category. And this is what happens next, the compliance cascade. So, at the very top, you have the OEM, the car manufacturer. They are the ultimate guarantor, responsible for putting together all the evidence for the final vehicle. To do that, they have to push the legal responsibility down to their Tier 1 suppliers, the companies making, say, the automated driving systems. That Tier 1 company is now legally considered a provider of a high-risk AI system, and they have to meet all the AI Act's duties. Then they push those obligations even further down through contracts to the Tier 2 and 3 suppliers, making the individual algorithms and computer chips. A failure to provide the right paperwork at the very bottom can now literally stop the entire production line. So let's zoom back out. This new legal framework isn't just about what's happening in Europe today. Its implications are really long-term, and they are definitely global. Make no mistake, the clock is ticking. The first bans on certain types of AI are set for early 2025. But the really key date for the auto industry is around August of 2026. That's when the rules for high-risk systems, like the ones in cars, will start to apply. And by 2027, the whole thing will be in full force. So we have a very clear and approaching set of deadlines for the entire industry.
So why should a car company in North America or Asia care so much? Well, it's because of something called the Brussels effect. The European Union is one of the biggest and richest car markets in the world. For a global car company, it's just way too expensive and complicated to engineer different AI safety systems for different parts of the globe. So the smartest business decision is to build all of their cars to meet the single highest standard anywhere in the world. And for AI in cars, that standard has now been set by the EU.
When you step back and look at it, Article 109 isn't just an amendment to a law, it's a blueprint. It's a model for how you can weave these broad, principle-based AI rules into any highly regulated, safety-critical field. The EU has figured it out for the auto industry. And that leaves us with a pretty big question. What industry is next?